All right, exercise 20-9. We're going to look at the difference between variable and absorption costing. And so you guys already know what absorption costing is. That's what we've been doing this whole time, what you do in financial accounting. That's the GAAP style of accounting, where you have sales minus cost of goods sold. And in that, you're not separating out variable and fixed cost. You're separating out product cost versus period cost. So variable costing is just what it sounds like, is that instead of breaking things up necessarily by what's related to the product, what's a period cost, we're looking at more at what's variable, what's fixed. And then the other small little thing that's different in variable costing is when we have a fixed cost under the old way, GAAP way, absorption costing, we take those fixed costs and some get allocated to the income statement and cost of goods sold, and some, for the units that aren't sold, stay in inventory until those units are sold. With variable costing, fixed costs are expensed in the period that they're actually incurred, and they don't stay on the balance sheet waiting for the actual sale of the product to happen. So, but we'll kind of see how that works out as we work through the problem. So in 29, we have answer a company. They gave us an abbreviated income statement under the absorption way, and we need to turn it into a variable costing income statement. All right, so we'll start with our sales of 18,769. And then we'll work through to calculate. So we're not going to calculate cost of goods sold because that's an absorption costing thing. We're actually going to calculate our contribution margin. So we're only going to focus on, in the top portion, only our variable cost. So with our beginning inventory, it said that we have 2354. But it also tells us that 30% is fixed, and so we're just talking about the variable portion. All right, and then we want to calculate our variable cost of goods manufactured, and so let's just drop down here to calculate that. So we're going to start off with our cost of goods sold, 15,471. We're going to add our ending inventory of 2408, and then we're going to subtract out our beginning inventory, which is 2354 right here. And that'll get us to our cost of goods manufactured. Now what we want to do is we want to subtract out the fixed portion, which they give us over here at 3860. Let me make that a negative. And that'll get us to our variable cost of goods manufactured. All right, so now we want to take our ending inventory. That's not spelled right. Oops. That's better. And our ending inventory is the 2408. But we only want the variable portion, so we only want 70% of it. And we're actually going to subtract our ending inventory out. So now we have our variable cost of goods manufactured of 11,627. And that's going to give us a manufacturing margin of sales minus variable COGS of 7142. So now to get to our contribution margin, we have to subtract out the remaining variable cost that we had, which was our selling and administrative. So let's drop down here to this little note to figure out that. So we have our selling, administration, and other, so it's up here at 2049. And it tells us that the fixed portion was 1170. So our variable selling and admin cost is 879, which is going to give us a contribution margin. Whoops. Of 62.63. So now we just need to go in and subtract out our fixed cost. It already gave us our fixed manufacturing cost. And so that's fixed cost regardless of whether or not that was part of our cost of goods sold or whether that stayed on the balance sheet in our inventory accounts. That's all the fixed costs that we spend. And then we have our selling and admin cost. It gave us that at 1170, which is going to give us our total fixed cost of 5030. And now we have income from operations. Take our contribution margin, subtract out fixed cost of 1233. All right, so in part B, it says explain the difference between the amount of income from operations reported under the absorption costing and the variable costing concept. So if we look up here, under absorption costing, we have income from operations of 1249. But under the variable costing, we had 1233, so they came out to be a little bit different. So to calculate the difference, I'm going to do this bottom portion first. So the income from variable costing is 1233, and we had our income from absorption of 1249. So our difference is 16. How we got to that was the fixed portion of our beginning inventory of 2354, so that's 30%. Subtract the fixed portion of our ending inventory, which is times 30%, which is our 16 difference. And so the reason there's a difference is with absorption costing, when we have fixed goods that are part of our inventory, it doesn't go to our income statement until it's sold. However, with variable costing, when we spend those fixed costs, it doesn't matter if it's we don't keep it on the balance sheet, we actually expense it right away. And so that the difference in how fixed costs are handled is what our difference is.